Hello, my wonderful people. Good morning to you and welcome to God's Love You channel, the home of news. If it's your first time and you like what we do here, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notifications. This will enable you to know when we upload a new video. Here we react to all forms of videos, local, international, especially what is happening in Nigeria. You will never regret being part of this wonderful platform. So we have come again today. The Prime Minister of Biafra Republic Government in Exile, Nnamdi. So many senators, in case if you don't know what is happening now, many senators in Nigeria, they are calling for the release of NNAMDIKANU because they believe or they think that it is the release of NNAMDIKANU that will stop the activities of the Prime Minister. No wonder, Prime Minister, you have sense. No wonder he came to exonerate himself from NNAMDIKANU. He said that whatever he's doing, he is responsible for it. So let's listen to the discussion in a Channels Television where one of our Biafra elder is talking about this. Stay tuned, watch this video to the end and you share. I am here with you. Thank you.
Cool. Before June the 19th, 2021, and in that ruling on fundamental human rights, an extraordinary rendition of the leader of the prescribed IPOP group, she also ordered the government to pay 500 million naira as damages to him. I need you to help us understand, because over time there have been different cases here and there. Some will recall January, the case of the High Court in Abia State. I think it was 1 billion naira then. Then October the 13th again at the appeal court, he was, he was acquitted according to what we saw. And now this one, help us understand, how is this related or maybe not to others? How do we situate this latest one?
Let's make sense out of the entire process. In January, as rightly mentioned, there was a civil case against the unlawful invasion of Nnamdi father's home in Umuahia in 2017. And the Ejimako who initiated the process also brought in the issue of extraordinary rendition that took place in Kenya. Now, the court in Umuahia, in summary, declined jurisdiction with the issue of extradition rendition, saying it's clearly outside the jurisdiction.
By the way, extraordinary rendition for people who are not, extraordinary.
What does it mean? The way he was abducted, the abduction is called extraordinary rendition. He was abducted not in accordance with the process. If you have any citizen you want to take out of a country, you go through extradition process. It's a judicial process. You don't just go and pick a human being and then bring that person to another country. Remember Umar Diko's incident in Britain also. So it was that extradition, process that this young man brought a case against, that it wasn't done properly. And then also the invasion of 2017. The court now assumed jurisdiction over the invasion, the unlawful invasion of 2017. Remember that Nnamdi ran away when he was pursued by the military, not by any court order. They just invaded his father's home. So that was clearly unlawful. So he brought these two cases together in the State High Court. The court declined jurisdiction on the extradition. Beautiful. And said that it can assume jurisdiction on this other one that has to do with our local issues and for which State High Court has jurisdiction, and then awarded a damage of 1 billion.
That was in January.
That was in January.
And now yesterday's.
Then the Ejimako himself, who happens to be the counsel who brought this matter, felt that the right thing now to do is to bring this extradition process, the extraordinary rendition matter, before the Federal High Court that has jurisdiction. So that was the one that was decided yesterday. The court now said, one, that it was very wrongful, contrary to local laws and international treaties, for the federal government to have taken Nnamdi forcefully from Kenya and brought him back to Nigeria in order for him to face his treasonable charges. So for doing that, she awarded 500 million against the federal government. So that is with regard to, these are civil cases. The one in Abuja is criminal. Nnamdi is charged for treasonable offenses and before the Federal High Court in Abuja. 15-count charge. The legal team brought an application to dismiss all the charges for being incompetent. The court said that only 8 of them were incompetent, struck down 8, and allowed 7 to stand so that Nnamdi can face trial for the 7 charges. They went on appeal over the 7-count charge that the court allowed. And the Court of Appeal now says, for bringing Nnamdi in a manner that was clearly a violation of his right, any other charge that stands on that issue of bringing cannot hold, that the court has no jurisdiction to try him. In other words, all the 7-count charge that was remaining was also knocked down. Okay. Meaning there is no charge, as I speak to you today, before any court anywhere against him. That is criminal now. That's at the Court of Appeal, okay. Abuja, yes.
But then the federal government said he's discharged but not acquitted.
Now, acquitted, not discharged.
Which one
you know, it's a matter of semantics. If you read, you need to read the judgment of that court, of the Court of Appeal. Even when beyond issue of discharge and acquittal, says that there is no other court that can even try Nnamdi with regards to this particular offense you have brought him back from Kenya. In other words, there is no charge today. If there is, when the court says you are discharged over a criminal charge, meaning there is no other charge even for you to continue the trial. So what do you mean by the issue of acquittal? Acquittal, yes, if you want to come back for another charge, fine, you can come back. That's what it means. You are not acquitted, you can be charged. But then the court even went further and said you cannot be charged brought before any other court in the land. Go and read that judgment of the Court of Appeal. So it even went beyond the issue of acquittal. You can't be brought as long as the process that brought him back has been rendered incompetent and invalid. You cannot try him today based upon the Court of Appeal, unless the Supreme Court overrules
but you also heard
the Court of Appeal. Yes.
You also heard the federal government, the Ministry of Justice, saying yes, they can't just obey the law. They court order.
Yes, this is one of the unfortunate things. I don't think they were rightly quoted, because it would be wrong for any government to say they cannot obey their own court.
Of course,
it's an institution under democracy. You know that 3 arms of government.
You know the site, security reasons.
No, you can't do that.
Okay.
If you bring a matter before the court and you have given your confidence to that court, and the court now gives a judgment, it behoves on you to obey that judgment. You can not give any other reason other than what the court, has actually ruled, because the court considered all that. You must have brought all that before the court, and the court considered and said, look, we have violated this man's right. Go ahead and release him. So you have no right whatsoever to now cite security as a reason for you to disobey your institution. 3 arms. And why we have those arms is to ensure balance and equity in a state. Now, the arm is that judicial arm is what that interprets the law, in order to ensure that there is no excesses on the part of other arms of government, because power corrupts. When there is absolute power, it corrupts absolutely. So the judiciary creates a balance in every civilized country, in every country that operates democracy, unless you're operating what you call military regime, in which case you will have no responsibility towards any person. You can do anything you want to do. But under democracy, these 3 arms of government act as checks and balances. So if the judiciary has made a pronouncement and said, no, this is wrong, against the executive or the legislative arm of government, you have to respect that. You have no reason for you now to give a different interpretation. It does not happen anywhere in democracy, unless you are not practicing democracy.
Well, the Attorney General, through a statement, the Minister of Police Affairs have also spoken about that. The Attorney General saying, yes, he was discharged, but not acquitted. Yes, we've seen a rejoinder from his legal team as well. But so 1 billion naira in January. 500 million naira now. That's 1.5 billion naira. Yes. But that's at the Federal High Court. The appeal court has reserved, ruling in that case, because the federal government is still in court regarding that. And I mean, you've talked about both sides. Federal government saying it's flight risk. His lawyer saying, well, he's actually releasing him essentially is fundamental right, because the court has said that. So perhaps moving forward, because I know the National Security Council has said, well, this political resolution, I mean, it's in the court. The president has said he would allow the judiciary handle this. How much of a way forward do you see? Because some will say that the appeal court clearly is higher than this court that just gave a judgment. So which should the federal government, or which way should the federal government go for this to be resolved? Because I imagine that's the big picture for everyone.
The elders, both even from the south and the southeast, have approached the president previously over this matter, and then suggested that, look, we can find a political solution to Nnamdi Matter saga. that it was because of the mishandling in the first place, that brought all this problem. But we can handle this matter in such a manner that there won't be any crisis anywhere. The unrest in the south is, generally, the president made a promise that he will allow the court to determine the fate of Nnamdi Kanu, which is what is ongoing now. Now, that same court has made pronouncement, and the federal government is disobeying that court order. So what does it speak? It shows that you never believed that you wanted the court to resolve the issue. But I think that I have an advice for the federal government. We want peace. We cannot make progress as a nation without peace.
Right.
And so the best thing to do in this circumstances is to look at this issue holistically.
Okay.
Speak to Nnamdi Kanu. Speak to the elders on what should be done in order to ensure that it's absolute peace. That if Nnamdi is released, there will be maintenance of peace in the southeast and all over generally. So I think that advice should go to the president that at this point in time, he has a very good legacy to leave behind by releasing Nnamdi Kanu. But before then, there should be a discussion as to ensuring peace in the southeast.
We have to run now. You had a similar case, the EFCC, that court. Has that been sorted? 12 million?
12 million they're owing me. And I told them I will pursue that matter till Jesus comes, and I'm going to get my 12 million. Now they appealed against it.
I just wanted to get an update. I just wanted to get an update just to help people understand how these things work. Perhaps ongoing conversation, but we'll have to thank you for that insight. Mr. Monday Obani is the chairman of Speedo, joins us right here in our Lagos studio. We'll be double doctor.